NBA Now by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. Happy Thursday afternoon to all the real ones out there, and I'm glad you are choosing to spend your time with us here because there is a lot of stuff to talk about in the NBA. You might think that's not the case, but there is actually some stuff that we got to talk about. Lauri Markkanen, Anthony Edwards. We'll talk about the Olympics. How about that game that just wrapped up between Team USA and Serbia? It will be France and the United States facing off this upcoming Saturday for the gold medal in the 2024 Paris Olympics. And we'll also talk some trade candidates as well after the Lauri Markkanen extension. Who are some of the top players in the association that could be on the move here? But before we really get into the meats and potatoes of today's show, I want to get the comment section flowing. Shout out your city. Let me know where all the real ones are watching from. I see about 40 people hanging out with us here on a Thursday afternoon to start off. I see a real one in Tony Fuentes, Daniel Barry, Geo Mag as well. Let me know where the real ones are watching from on this little Thursday afternoon. I'm located in Dallas, Texas. I feel like there's a decent amount of people that actually watch our content from Dallas, Texas, too, if I'm going to be honest. We got Tony Fuentes in San Antonio, a Texan just like myself as well. Said the Thibai says the volume is low. Okay, we'll get to work on that for you. Des Moines, Panthers, man. All right. Dennis says New York. Cubao, Philippines? Which one is it? Are you from the Philippines or are you from New York? Which one is it? Oh, we got Go Spurs Go from Tony Fuentes. There's 38 people in the building. I see a lot of people are from the United States. Well, you know what? They just came from behind to beat Team Serbia. So guess what? Spam USA for me down in the comments section. USA! 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 What a comeback what a comeback win for the United States behind Steph Curry's 35-plus point game. Joel Embiid played good late. Kevin Durant was really good. You're right, Geo Mag. Jason Tatum was on the bench. He played absolutely no time whatsoever. That was interesting to say the least. But either way, good to see the United States to get off to the win. And now that matches them up with France in the gold medal game on Saturday afternoon. Before we continue to progress here on today's show, we do have to let you know we're sponsored by Game Time, the #1 ticketing app in the United States. And if you want to go to any event, whether it be sporting event, comedy show, Game Time is the best place to get your tickets. Whether you do want to go to an MLB game, whether you want to go to an NFL game, does not matter. They will have you covered, and they got tickets and great deals for all the real ones out there across the country. They got all-in pricing, which allows you to see exactly what you would have to pay when you're looking at your seat. You're not going to get blindsided at the fee or by any fees when you're checking out. No, you will know how much it actually costs. You also get to see your exact vantage point. Specifically, like when I go to MLB games, I always get concerned about where I actually am going to be in the park and if I'm getting a blocked view or anything like that. Game Time will show you exactly where your seat is in relation to everything else, so you never have to worry about that. They also have the lowest price guaranteed. If you find the same ticket, or a seat, I should say, for a lower price on a different ticketing app, well, they'll actually credit you for 110% of the difference. Game Time just does it all to make sure you have the most easy experience while purchasing your tickets, and boy, do I like easy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Make sure you create an account and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Shout out Game Time. That link is in the description and comments and live chat of today's show. All right, there was some interesting news or notes today around Anthony Edwards. Yes, you heard that correctly, where Bill Simmons said that don't be surprised if Anthony Edwards requests a trade in the next couple of seasons to go to the Miami Heat. He has a really good relationship with Bam Adebayo and Eric Spoelstra, who both coach and play for Miami. And then Dan Le Batard, who covers Miami sports for radio in the South Beach area, kind of mentioned the same thing. I don't know if he's just doubling down off Bill Simmons' initial quote on his podcast, but two different people have now said, don't be surprised if Ant tries to force his way to Miami at some point in his career. So let me ask you this question. Will Anthony Edwards request a trade in the next 2 seasons? Not this year, because he's definitely going to be staying in Minnesota this upcoming year. But in the next couple of years, will he end up requesting a trade? Let me know your thoughts down below. Type R for request or type S for stay. Tony Fuentes is saying request. He's typing their R's. Not going to happen this year. That is for sure. I don't expect a trade request for Anthony Edwards at all, but with the contract situations in Minnesota with Karl-Anthony Towns, with Rudy Gobert, them being so much over the cap, if they don't really progress over the next couple of seasons and really continue to struggle, then they might end up seeing a trade request from their young star. Panthers fan, type in S for stay. What's up, Maya? Saying, what's up, Nicky Roley? Let's get Ant-Man to the Miami Heat ASAP. I'm in, Maya. Listen, if you saw the show I put out today on the Heat Report, you would know how excited I would be to get Anthony Edwards in a Heat uniform. That is for sure. All right, before we get into today's show, which does have a lot of fun stuff, which is the latest news and rumors surrounding the NBA after Lauri Markkanen got an extension, Olympics winners and losers, which I'll be honest, we had a couple players on there in the loser list that absolutely went off today that maybe could be winners now, but we're going to leave it where it is. Make sure you like today's video because we do have a lot of fun stuff to talk about, but we need to get 50% likes. There's 30-plus people watching. We only have 10 likes. Can we get 5 more likes? Can we get to 15 likes right now, and then we'll start today's show? I think it should be very easy to get 15 likes. It's free content on YouTube here. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll even throw this caveat in here. My birthday's tomorrow. I was born on August 9th, 2000. I know that might be crazy for you guys to hear that out loud because I'm only 23 for 8 more hours. But I would like to get 15 likes. Can it be your birthday present to me? Let's get 3 more likes. Let's get 3 more likes. Come on. Let's go. Quentin's saying, y'all wish F Miami, F Roley hit the like button. You know, those Knicks fans, they always like to come in and say F Roley. But as long as you guys are hitting the like button, I don't care. Who's going to make my birthday wish come true and get us 15 likes? Come on. 2 more. 2 more, and then we'll get today's show started. 1 more. Put the ones up. 1 more. Who's going to be that 15th like? Who's going to get the job done? Who's going to be that 15th like? I'm waiting. We need to get there before we start today's show. We need to get there before we start today's show. I don't see it. I don't see it. Ah, there we go. We got it, baby. We got it, baby. All right. Let's do it. Let's get into the latest news and rumors in the NBA following the Lauri Markkanen extension. Welcome to NBA Now by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. On today's show, we're going to talk about the latest news and rumors in the NBA following the Lauri Markkanen extension. We did not know if Lauri was going to be dealt this offseason or extended, and it is officially now Markkanen staying in the Utah Jazz for at least 1 year. Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN had an initial report, but didn't have the initial money there is. Shams Charania had the initial news that Lauri would be staying in Utah. But Woj saying that Markkanen has officially signed 5 years, $238 million contract and extension, including $220 million in new money. Agent let him know. But it's fascinating to see the new money thing because he was under contract for $18 million this year, so he probably got more money this upcoming season as well as a massive 5-year extension for the long term. But this is pretty significant, not only for the Utah Jazz as they continue to build their team for the future, but Markkanen stays put for at least 1 year. Why, you might ask? He is now not eligible to be traded for 6 months. Based on where you sign your extension, there's a rule in the NBA that once you sign a new deal, you can't be dealt for 6 months. Well, what lines up with 6 months from August 7th when he signed his extension, or at least did it yesterday? The trade deadline. February 6th is the NBA trade deadline, and if he signed it August 7th, 6 months from now is February 7th, which means he could not be traded before that 2025 NBA trade deadline, which means Markkanen is going to be a Utah Jazz basketball player, at least until the 2025 NBA offseason, which takes him off the table for a trade if the Jazz ever felt like dealing him anyway for the upcoming year. Very fascinating, and we're going to be talking about what that means for the rest of the NBA and specifically the Golden State Warriors here in just a second. But make sure you are subscribed. This is why we will have you covered with every single piece of NBA news, NBA rumors. It does not matter. We have a great team here at Chat Sports. Myself, Nic Rohloff, Patrick Seatman, Marshall Green, Tyler Smith, Jeffrey Cooperstein, Harrison Graham, Chase Sr. It don't matter. We're bringing you everything you need to know around the NBA. Hit that sub button. All right, let's transition to the conversation on Lauri Markkanen to now what it meant for the Golden State Warriors and what it means here for the upcoming couple of months before training camp gets underway in the beginning of October. Because there are reports coming out after the Markkanen extension that the Warriors never offered their two young pieces, Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski, to Utah for Lauri Markkanen. And to me, my initial reaction to that is what a joke. Were the Warriors ever serious about acquiring the services of Lauri Markkanen? I'm not saying that if they added Kuminga and Podziemski to the deal that it would have made Utah just say, oh my God, yes, we'll give you Lauri Markkanen. But if you actually tried to tell Steph Curry and the rest of that roster, yeah, we are currently working on a trade to try to get Lauri Markkanen here to be your running mate and your second star in Golden State so you don't waste the final 2 or 3 years of your career not competing for an NBA title, and thank you for your services over the past 14 years, then you can't seriously come back to him after this leaked and say, yeah, we tried. Because you didn't. You didn't offer Kuminga or Brandon Podziemski. Shams Charania actually reported what the alleged final trade offer from Golden State to Utah was. It was Moses Moody, multiple first-round picks and swaps, multiple second-round picks for Lauri Markkanen. And I know some of you might say, well, why would they offer both Podziemski and Kuminga with all that draft capital? Lauri Markkanen is that good. Like, I don't think people understand how good Lauri actually is. He averaged 25 and 23 points per game the last 2 years, respectively. He's a smooth 7-footer that can stroke it from deep, shooting 40% from three the past 2 seasons, and was an all-star 2 years ago. Markkanen is that guy, and him working in tandem with Steph Curry would have been absolutely lethal. I would have absolutely had no hesitation trading Podziemski or Jonathan Kuminga for Lauri Markkanen. To me, you are just an unserious team if you're trying to present to the fan base of Golden State, or Steph Curry for that matters. That's like, we're doing everything possible to get Lauri Markkanen in a Warrior uniform to help you compete for an NBA title in a stacked Western Conference. Then you have to offer one of these two guys, if not both. Like, they are fine young players. And I have a little bit of a rant to go on here with Podziemski. I think Kuminga's a good young player. I do. He took another leap this past season, averaging 16 points a game, shooting above 50% from the field. He does need to develop more of a jumper because it is a little bit sketchy at times, only shooting 32% from the field, and it limits him. Podziemski was good as a rookie after being the 19th overall pick out of Santa Clara. He exceeded my expectations for sure. I didn't love that pick for Golden State in the 2023 NBA draft, but he certainly proved me wrong. But let's be real here, folks. Is Brandon Podziemski someone that you can confidently say after his rookie season he is going to be an NBA All-Star in his future? I can't say that confidently. Is he at worst a high-level role player off the bench or a decent starting point guard in the NBA? Sure. But can you confidently look me in the eyes and tell me Brandon Podziemski will be an NBA All-Star in the next 3 or 4 seasons without a doubt? I don't think you can. And if you are answering that the same way that I am, there is no reason why he should not have been in a trade package to get Lauri Markkanen. Because do you not want to get Steph help? Like, Steph Curry's got, 3 years max of being a number one option? And you're just going to waste it away with Curry, Draymond, Buddy Hield? Like, they don't have a lot of pieces over there unless you're assuming that Podziemski, Jonathan Kuminga take massive steps forwards this upcoming year and Andrew Wiggins returns to his old self. Like, this Warriors team is going to be in the same exact spot they were last year, if not worse, with teams like San Antonio getting better. Like, if I'm a Warriors fan, I would be disappointed in the front office not pursuing Markkanen harder. And if I was a Steph Curry person, or if I was Steph Curry just in general, I wouldn't be too happy with the Warriors organization. But let me know. Do you agree with me? Would you have offered more if you were Golden State? More meaning Podziemski and Jonathan Kuminga, or at least one of them. If you would have offered more, type Y for yes. If you're fine with what the Warriors end up offering, type N for no. The question that we now ask is what is next for Golden State? Because I do believe they need to make an upgrade to this roster because this current roster they have, at best, 8 seed. Like, there is no chance in my mind that the Warriors escape the play-in. The only way the Warriors are not a play-in team is if they miss the play-in altogether, which I do think is a real possibility because of leaps from San Antonio and Memphis coming back after getting Ja Morant back from injury. Like, this Western Conference is very, very deep. And right now, if I had to take a bet on if the Warriors would make the playoffs or miss it, I am absolutely hammering the Warriors to miss the playoffs. Like, I don't understand whatsoever why Golden State is electing to not make a move whatsoever. And that really begs the question, is there another move on the table that Golden State could actually end up making? Well, according to some reports out there from Shams Charania, the Warriors haven't shown any interest in Zach LaVine or Brandon Ingram. And I do understand the Zach LaVine thing to a point because his contract's really bad, and a team like the Warriors that does not have a lot of financial flexibility right now probably can't take on Zach LaVine's contract. And does he even move the needle that much? I'm not sure. Well, Brandon Ingram is someone they should absolutely be interested in. I know that he's looking for a massive payday here, but what's to stop you from trading for Brandon Ingram, seeing how the 1 year plays out, and then making a decision on his future with your team after that? I know it's risky if he ends up leaving and you traded away assets to get him for 1 year of service, but to me, you just simply can't stand pat with the current roster on hand. I don't think it's a team that can compete in the West, and you're just wasting the final couple years of Steph Curry's ability to be a number one player on a championship team. But apparently maybe Steph Curry and Draymond Green are happy with the roster and they're content because Kendra Andrews, who covers the Golden State Warriors, who does a really good job, reported that Steph Curry and Draymond Green are reportedly excited about the moves that Golden State made this summer. And if I am going to be honest, I do like some of the minuscule moves they did make. Like, I was fine letting Klay Thompson walk. I like bringing in Buddy Hield. I like the I'm spacing on the addition of the point guard Melton, DeAndre Melton, I believe it was. I like him coming off the bench, but to me, they're still really far away from competing for a championship, and that is not a good look if you're Golden State. All right, we got to talk some Anthony Edwards here on the back half of today's show. But first, we are sponsored by Game Time. And if you want to go to any event in your specific area, whether it be a concert, comedy show, sporting event, there's a lot of sports coming on here. We got football almost back. Baseball is continuing to swing around, and the NBA are just about 2 months ago. Game Time is the place you have to get your tickets. They got flash deals, which allow you to save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of your game and event. They got great seat views. They allow you to get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. And they got even some ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. I use Game Time on a consistent basis to get my tickets. I live in Dallas, so I go to some Mavericks games at times. I go to some Rangers games. Can't really go to any Cowboys games, which is fine by me. But I do go to a lot of events here, and every time I go one, I always use Game Time. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Anthony Edwards to the 305 to join the Miami Heat. That's the final topic on today's show because there are reports out there that Anthony Edwards really likes Bam Adebayo, who have played together on Team USA, and they've grown pretty close as it seems, but also with head coach Eric Spoelstra, who is an assistant on that Team USA staff. Well, originally sparked in the NBA rumor mill, if you will, thanks to Bill Simmons, who said this on his podcast. Edwards really loves Bam and Spoelstra and his experience with them. Don't be surprised. ... Story drop. Am I dropping it now? Question mark. Listen, I'm not up here to tell you that Anthony Edwards is going to go to the Miami Heat, nor am I going to say that he's going to request a trade from Minnesota anytime soon because he is under contract until the 2029 offseason, thanks to that massive rookie supermax he signed. But I guess, marriage with the Miami Heat in terms of Anthony Edwards would just be unreal, man. It is the perfect place for him to go play. They accept players with his mindset, his dog mentality, his two-way ability, and it would just be a terrific pairing with him, Bam Adebayo, to be the post-Jimmy Butler-led era. Like, in his career, Anthony Edwards has done nothing short of been spectacular. Coming in as the first overall pick out of Georgia, he averaged 19 points a game, was terrific. But just year after year after year, he has gotten better and better, improving his points per game mark, improving his efficiency from beyond the arc, and just in total. In this past season, he was an all-NBA guard that had the Timberwolves a top 3 seed in the Western Conference, and they were in the Western Conference Finals before they came up a little bit short. Anthony Edwards has been terrific over the past couple of years, and he is going to only continue to get better. And honestly, I think he's on the path to become a top 3 face of the league. Like him, Victor Wembanyama could be the two guys alongside Luka Doncic that really are the face of the NBA. More to talk about to finish the conversation, but let me know, will Anthony Edwards request a trade from the Minnesota Timberwolves? I don't think it would come this year, but 2-3 years from now, maybe. We'll talk about it. Type R for request or type S for stay. The only way I do see him requesting a trade is in 2 to 3 years. It's not happening this year. They're going to run it back, better or for worse. I am someone who doesn't like running it back if I'm a team. I always like to try to make adjustments to the roster because if you didn't win the championship, there's obviously no need for you to run it back because there was something holding you back. Well, think about this. Rudy Gobert getting paid damn near $50 million. He is only getting worse and worse in the NBA. His defense obviously is his calling card, but he gets hunted in the postseason on switches and in drop coverage, and he doesn't give you anything offensively. Karl-Anthony Towns, he's making $50 million a season. Well, guess what? He absolutely shriveled deep into that postseason run. Like, they have a team constructed to beat the Denver Nuggets, and they did their job. They beat the Nuggets in their playoff series in the Western Conference semifinals, but they are not a team in my eyes that are going to be able to compete with the Dallas Mavericks, the upcoming San Antonio Spurs, the Oklahoma City Thunder in the long haul here. They are really good at beating the Nuggets, but that might be the only team they have their number on. And if they continue to plateau and they never get back to the Western Conference Finals, or they have to trade away one of Cat and Gobert because they're so far over the cap in the next couple of seasons with Jalen McDaniels' contract coming up and some other big-time players, like Anthony Edwards, I'm not going to be someone surprised if he ends up requesting a trade in 2 to 3 seasons. It's just a matter of where he would go and who has the best assets at that time. But in 2 to 3 years, the entire landscape of the NBA could be wildly different. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of NBA Now by Chat Sports. Welcome in. Appreciate you guys watching, hanging out with us. If you're still here and watching after this long video, you clearly like what we're doing, so make sure you are subscribed because we are bringing you content on a weekly basis around the NBA. No one does it better than us, so hit that sub button and join us for the future. All right, first segment in the books. What are you guys' thoughts? Will Anthony Edwards request a trade? Let's change the live poll here. Oh, will Anthony Edwards request a trade? Oops, didn't want this to be in all caps. What do you think, Matt? Let's welcome in Matt Goldman, producer Matt Goldman, first time live here on the channel. What do you think, Matt? There you go.
Right.
Yeah,
All right.
Well, there we go. Now we got.
I'm the new guy, so that's what happens when you're the new guy. Anyways, Nick, glad to be on. But I think for Anthony Edwards' situation, he's a top 10 player in this league. He's rising to be one of the best in this century, as we've talked about, and you did the Heat show earlier. So I don't see it right now, but if they're not getting to the conference finals in the next 2 years, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, if they just plateau and they never really get better in the Western Conference or arguably get worse, and then with all the contract situations, they have to get away and deal out some contracts, why wouldn't Anthony Edwards at least think about it, right? Like, whenever stars don't feel comfortable or feel good with the direction their team is going in, they just immediately request a trade in the NBA. For better or for worse, it's really the only sporting league that has so much volatility with its stars. Like, think about it. NBA stars or NFL stars, like they mostly stay put. Like, sure, there's the wide receivers that ask out, but if you're a legit NFL quarterback, you don't really change teams too often. But in the NBA, star players are going left, right. So it's just the really culture of the NBA that, like, if you don't feel good about where your team's heading, ask out.
Do you think there's any other team that Anthony Edwards could possibly go to, not just the Heat?
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously the Heat are getting linked here right now, but if I'm just projecting what team could really use someone of his services now, like, I'm going to stay in state in Orlando. Like, the Magic, who have Paolo Banchero, who's just looking like to be one of the best players in the league himself. I wouldn't be shocked if he's a top 15 guy after his third season this upcoming year. Franz Wagner's a really good number two. And if they deem it necessary that they still need some guard scoring and guard help, Anthony Edwards comes available. They have a lot of draft capital. They have young guys still on that team, like Jalen Suggs and other guys. Like, I could see Anthony Edwards becoming someone that the Magic target. And it's really interesting. Like, you think of teams that have a shit ton of draft capital here in the future. Houston Rockets. But I will say this. If the Timberwolves end up ever trading Anthony Edwards, this is a massive hypothetical here, I would almost be willing to guarantee they will not be willing to deal him in the Western Conference. They will not want to deal with that every single year, potentially in the playoffs, if the Timberwolves ever get back. So to me, they would only consider Eastern Conference teams. So then we'll also think about the Brooklyn Nets, who have unbelievable amount of draft capital. Now, who knows if the Brooklyn Nets are going to ever be able to field a competitive roster, but they can probably top any other team in the Eastern Conference in terms of the package they can offer Minnesota due to what they've done. So the Nets are a team that I would keep my eye out for them if they are able to, like, convince Anthony Edwards, like, come here, we have something growing. But the Magic are probably the top team because they have a lot of capital and they have a good young future in Paolo and Franz Wagner. Created a nasty big three with Ant and those two.
As a Knicks fan, I don't think it's ever going to happen, but that would be insane.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you guys, I wouldn't say burned up all your assets and trade assets because you guys still have good assets. But the Mikal Bridges move felt like, okay, it's time to cash in. We have Jalen Brunson. We have OG Anunoby. We could wait and hold on to all these draft picks and try to see if a crazy megastar comes available, like Anthony Edwards. But I actually like what Leon Rose did and said, we know we can get Mikal Bridges right now. He's a really good culture fit. He fits what we need in this team at the perimeter and 3 and D wing. Let's just pull the trigger now, spend at least most of our draft capital, and cash in. I like that move instead of continuing to push it down the line and wait. You got a window now to try to compete in this Eastern Conference with Philly and Boston, so why not do it with Mikal? I like what they did there.
For the people in the comments, make a comment. What's another team that you think Anthony Edwards could request a trade to? Let's hear your thoughts, guys.
Yeah, good point. Continue doing that. But while you guys potentially get in the comment section here, we do have another segment coming up. And listen, the Olympic finals gold medal match is set. I don't know what the exact term is there. It is the finals, but I think they just call it the gold medal match between France and the United States. Thought that was going to work. Before we do this, let me try to find a different logo that doesn't have background here. Let's see here.
As Nick continues to look, guys, get in the comments. Keep commenting. Anything basketball related, shout out to Nick. Almost birthday tomorrow. Let's go.
It's slow day here on Chat Sports.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Come on. USA just got a big time win.
Yeah. Check the new photo I just put in. See if that one has a background or not. There you go. Nailed it. All right. That's good. All right. You can do whatever you want. Doesn't matter because you're going to have to splice them all anyway, so it's your call if you want to do the intro or not. You can either add it when you're doing the splice or you can just do it now. Whatever your call is. Okay. All right, we're going to get into Olympic basketball winners and losers here. I thought this would be a fun segment here on the channel to go through who played well during the Olympics, who did not play well. I guess we will have some caveats here. Some of the players that I put on my loser list actually performed very well in the semifinals, so we'll mention that, of course. But All right, here we go. Let's get into Olympic basketball winners and losers. Welcome to the NBA Now by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff, and we are talking some Olympic basketball today. Yes, the Olympics are coming to a close, and there was a lot of basketball played with some of the best players in the world, and we want to go through the winners and losers. Now, we will mention some specific players. We will also mention a country as a whole in their basketball program moving forward. But before we get into that, I want you to follow me over on Twitter/X. I will have the latest in the NBA over on my Twitter. Anything crazy happens, we will break it down. I'm tweeting about the NBA on a daily basis. So if you want to be the most informed NBA fan on the planet, well, step one is make sure you're subscribed to Chat Sports here. But also follow me on Twitter, as we're going to have coverage in between each video surrounding the NBA. All right, we're going to start with a loser here. The first person that we're talking about is Jamal Murray. He really struggled for Team Canada, and it is really concerning if you're asking me. And if you're a Nuggets fan at home, I would be slightly concerned about what I saw from Jamal Murray. He stunk up the joint, man. Canada, who is probably the team that I thought behind USA had the best chance to win the Olympics and win the gold medal, ended up not really being the case, as they got bounced out really early by France. And this had me wondering what went wrong with Team Canada, and part of it was Jamal Murray struggling, because I thought they had the best backcourt in the Olympics with Jamal Murray, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You have some players like RJ Barrett as well, but Jamal Murray was terrible in 4 games in the Olympics. 6 points, 3.8 assists. But the concerning part was his field goal shooting. 29% from the field and 14% from beyond the arc. That was as bad as it gets. And it goes beyond the raw numbers. When you watch Jamal Murray play in these Olympic Games, I was very, very concerned by the lack of his ability to beat defenders off the dribble. He simply just could not beat guys to his spot. And he was getting absolutely clamped up, which made it very, very difficult for him to get good looks there. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he has nagging injuries or not. But there is something to it, at least in my eyes, that he was getting absolutely locked up in the Olympics. He was relegated to the bench. I thought they were going to start him and SGA together. Ultimately, not the case. And he went to the bench. And in the elimination game where he got knocked out for France, shot 3 of 13 off the bench. Absolutely abysmal. So let me know, did you watch the Olympics? That's a fair question. I watched most of the games, but you let me know if you guys watched the Olympics as a whole, but also Olympic basketball. I've watched your ass around to know. Winner, Kevin Durant for United States. And I just want to personally congratulate KD. And I know he's going to think holy crap, Nic Rohloff of Chat Sports personally congratulated me. This is the best day of my life. I know, KD. It really is. But congrats to Durant on a serious note, because he became the most leading scorer in USA basketball history. One of the most prolific scorers in the game of basketball's history. Is now the leading guy for Team USA. Congrats to KD. He's just been a terrific player for his career and for the United States. And he's looked like the KD of old as well. He was part of that terrific comeback for the United States against Serbia. Now, you can thank Steph Curry for going nuclear as well. But KD was very, very good in these Olympic runs. Top 3 leading scorer on this ball club as well. He just looked like a confident scorer out there. Can do it from beyond the arc. Can do it off the dribble. Durant was very, very good for Team USA. Someone who really struggled, and it's really been a bad 6 months for Rudy Gobert. He did not play well for France. And it started to be concerning to me if Rudy Gobert is just going to be a bad basketball player moving forward. He's clearly not bad, but he got benched. He did. In the semifinal game for France, he got benched. He played 5 minutes in that basketball game. He was not good. Victor Wembanyama has been the leading guy for France. Evan Fournier's played some hoops. They've had some guards really step up, which was a little bit of a surprise. But Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama were advertised to be the two guys to really lead that France team in the front court. But it's really just been the Wemby show because Gobert can't even see the floor. It just really goes to show that some of those depoys, 4-time depoy winner, it's a bit ridiculous. Probably should not have 4 Defensive Player of the Years. Rudy Gobert just has really had a really tough summer ever since going back to him getting exposed in the Western Conference Finals to now being benched by France. Kind of nuts. More players to talk about here, but make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we're going to have you covered on every single NBA news and rumor piece, even some fun segments like this one. Make sure you hit that sub button and join myself, Nic Rohloff, as we'll have a lot of fun NBA coverage leading up to getting underway in just about a couple of months. But we'll also be doing live events for the trade deadline. We live for the draft, live for free agency. We do it all here at Chat Sports. To hit that sub button. Rudy Gobert's counterpoint, Victor Wembanyama, is a winner. The young man just continues to grow his legacy. And you want to talk about someone who could have one of the best international careers out of anyone in the history of the game. It might be Victor Wembanyama. He just continues to grow. He led France to that gold medal game. Like, that's a hard thing to do, man. It is. Like, I don't care what you say. Being the best player at 19, 20 years old and getting your team to the gold medal match in the Olympics, that is really, really impressive stuff by Victor Wembanyama. And he is expected to just have a massive second year for the San Antonio Spurs. He is a clear winner in my eyes. A clear winner should also be Game Time because that is the best app to use if you want to go watch any of these players play basketball when the NBA season comes around in 2 or 3 months. But if you can't wait any longer, which I can't, you can also use Game Time to go watch some NFL games, MLB games, and some concerts, comedy shows as well. The Game Time app is the best place to go find your tickets. They show you your seat when you're in the app. You get a panoramic view of everything. They have the lowest price guaranteed. They have all-in pricing, which means you get to see your total money you're spending on each ticket up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They got zone deals as well, which allow you to save even more money when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. There's tons of different features on the Game Time app, which help you get the most bang for your buck. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. Now, we do have Steph Curry as a loser on the list, but I also had this on my list before his semifinal game against the Serbia. I mean, Steph Curry went absolutely nuclear. He had 37 points. And if we're going to be honest, Steph Curry is the only reason why Team USA was able to get to the gold medal match. Because without him knocking down 9 threes and just being a menace to the Serbian defenders, USA is probably out in the semifinals. But I do have to stick to my guns here, folks. And before that massive semifinal performance by Stephen Curry, he was really struggling. He was only averaging 7 points a game in the first 4 games for USA, the first knockout game and the 3 group stage. Curry just was not adjusting well, but he finally found his stroke in that semifinal game against Serbia, had 17 points in the first quarter. Like I said, ended with 37. He really turned things around in that one, but he was not playing well up until that point, so I'm sticking to what I had as Curry being a loser. Now, he went off in this championship game. It's a different story. Another loser, Jason Tatum. This one is very, very clear. This guy is just racking up DNPs for Team USA. And it's not to diminish Jason Tatum as a player. Like, he obviously just won an NBA championship. But I think it's becoming more and more clear that he might be one of the more overrated NBA stars we have. And I don't want to knock the guy too crazy, but let's just be real here. That Celtics team won because they were one of the most well-put rosters in the NBA. They did not win because Jason Tatum is one of the best leading men in the NBA. There's a reason why Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP. I also just think the impact of Derek White and Drew Holiday can't be understated. Like, Jason Tatum was not the reason why that team won a title. He helped them do that. And then when he's on Team USA and he got a DNP in the first group stage game, gets a DNP in the semifinals against Serbia. Like, he's fourth in the NBA on this team in minutes and shooting 38.9% from the field. Like, Jason Tatum has not been good in the Olympics at all. And it's not like I'm trying to say he's a bad basketball player, but if you're trying to tell me who played well in the Olympics, who didn't, who's winners, who's losers, Jason Tatum might be one of the most clear-cut losers on this list. You let me know, though, who is the biggest loser of the Olympics? We've already had 4 names: Tatum, Steph Curry, Jamal Murray, and Rudy Gobert. I think you could put an answer to this question to Murray, Gobert, or Tatum. Probably can't be Curry anymore, but let me know who your biggest loser of the Olympics is. The only player or non-player we're going to talk about, winner, South Sudan basketball. And I know this is an NBA show, and we're primarily talking about NBA people, but shout out to South Sudan because Luol Deng is starting to put together a little program out there, and they really showed up, and heck, they almost made the knockout portion of the Olympics. Coming out of absolutely nowhere, they almost beat Team USA in a friendly. They were very, very close to beating Serbia and almost making it into the knockout portion. They put up a great fight, and they're really starting to put together something over there in South Sudan, and I wouldn't be shocked by the next Olympics rolling around if they were a team that was almost a shoo-in to reach the knockout stage. Luol Deng's running a great program. Carlik Jones was great. JT Thor, Wenyan Gabriel. They had some dogs over there in South Sudan, so hopefully they continue on an upward trajectory. Final player we're talking about here, and it's a loser, Joel Embiid from Team USA, someone who has been downright horrific for the Team USA. But I will say this, in that game against Serbia in the semifinals, Joel Embiid played really big down the stretch of that game. But out of the main rotation players for the United States, it is pretty evident that he is the worst one. It's just his brand of basketball doesn't fit the FIBA rules. He just goes out there and flops a lot, tries to get to the free throw line. The game is officiated internationally. They don't give you as much head fake calls and flopping calls. And Joel Embiid's really struggled because of that. So I hope this is a wake-up call for Embiid. Probably won't be, to where if he returns to the NBA, he doesn't just try to foul bait all the time and tries to actually score real baskets. But he's probably just going to go back to his old ways anyway. Who are we kidding? But he has not been good on Team USA. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed this different type of segment. I don't think it's ever been done before on the channel, so I wanted to try it out here, Team USA winners and losers. And if you want more content on the NBA, like I said at the beginning, follow me on X/Twitter at Nic_Rohloff if you want more NBA content. All right. One more segment to go. But let me know, did you watch the Olympics? Yes or no? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I saw you messing with it. It looks like it got louder. Well, after this, when we put in the Movavi, I'll listen to it to see what it sounds like. No, yeah, because if worse comes to be, maybe we could just elevate my audio in Movavi when we make the cuts. Yeah, we will figure it out. But it looks pretty good now. I didn't think it looked weird beforehand, but a couple different comments said that it was a little low, so we'll see. We'll see. We will see. Oh, man. I tell you what, I am sweating a lot. This fan is not doing the trick. Not doing the trick, I'll tell you what. Diana Rossini with a little update on Brandon Ayuk. Nothing crazy there. All right.
Preseason football on tonight.
Preseason football.
Giants, let's go.
Preseason football is on.
We got the Finns tomorrow, you and I, watch party.
Yeah, it's going to be very fun. I'm excited for that.
Big game against the Falcons, the Kirk Cousins Falcons. No more Rondale Moore, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see Kirk Cousins tomorrow, but we should be seeing a lot of Michael Penix Jr., which will be fun.
I'm not going to complain. He's great.
I was going to say, that's going to be very fun. I think we're going to get to see 2 electric QBs because I don't think they have a 4th QB on their roster. I could be mistaken. I'll have to double check. But I know this is an NBA show, but I don't think they have anyone other than Taylor Heineke, Michael Penix, and Kirk Cousins. So hopefully we'll just get to see a lot of them. Let me check real quick, 'cause I am curious. Also, while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell a story. Story time before we get into our final one. My faith in humanity has been restored. It has. I know a lot of people might say this is not the right time to make that statement, as it is very chaotic in the world that we have right now. But how about this? On Monday night, I get home from work. I plan on going to the gym. And I don't know what happened, but I ended up putting a lot of my stuff on the top of my car prior to me going into the car. And before I did that, I went to go grab all of it. So I put my water bottle, my keys, my wallet up top. And I ended up grabbing my water bottle and keys. And when I get to the gym, I go to grab my wallet from my car. And I'm like, I don't have my car or my wallet. And I'm starting to sweat because initially I couldn't remember did I even take my wallet into the car? Like maybe I have it in my room still. So anyway, I'm sweating. I'm thinking I'm just going to you know what? I'll do my workout. There's no worry about me sweating it now. And we'll just do my workout. I receive a request on Instagram for a DM from my account. I have no clue. I was like, all right, let me look at this real quick. I was in between sets. I open it, and it's this random girl saying, hi, did you happen to lose your wallet on blank street? And that's my address. And I'm like, holy crap, I did lose my wallet on that street. And she goes, I picked it up for you. Are you close in this area right now? And I was just like, yes, I can be there in 5 minutes. And so I pull up. They tell me the address to go to. It's right literally a 2-minute walk from my apartment. And these two girls walk out, hand me my wallet. And it's just an unbelievable moment. One, I had like $200 cash in my wallet, which I don't know why I was carrying that much money. I just came back from Rochester. My parents gave me money because I was back home. Shout out mom and dad. But like, I was more concerned with the credit card, more concerned about the ID. It's like, I have to do all this shit again. I don't want to do all this shit again. Get these new ones. So I was more concerned about that. But these girls give me my wallet back. Not a penny was taken from the wallet. I get it back. It was an unbelievable moment. And I was just like, holy crap, faith in humanity restored. Because God knows that 95% of Dallas, Texas would probably have stolen the wallet, picked it up off the ground, and that's it. Or at least taken the $200 cash and say, like, yeah, we did find your wallet, but it was empty when we picked it up. And they could have been lying, or that could have been the truth. But there are so many people walking around who need that money, so the fact that these two girls picked it up, ended up returning it to me safely with nothing stolen, I mean, shout out to them. And I actually offered them money when I picked it up because I was like, you guys saved my life here. Like, you don't even understand. Like, you want $50 or something, like dinner and drinks on me tonight. They declined it, and they told me all they wanted was to give them a shout out on the show.
Wow.
That's all they wanted because they were like, we kind of stalked you a little bit to make sure you're a real person and to make sure you were like not a weirdo. And I was like, fair. It makes a lot of sense. And it was more of a tongue-in-cheek joke that they made there, but like, shout out. Shout out to you.
Now I'm curious.
I don't even know their names.
So you haven't talked to these girls since?
No, I just I sent them a DM
like together?
No. I just sent them a DM and was just like, thanks a lot, really helps, saved my life. That's it.
Nice people.
Real nice people.
That's big.
I mean, it was huge for the program.
Oof, I've had those moments, but what were you hitting at the gym?
Oh, it was chest and shoulders day. Chest,
So
shoulders, and tries. It did, yeah. I only got through like half of it, which was fine. I didn't care.
Wallet comes
Still got my wallet. By the way, they got Nathan O'Rourke on that team, so we will see a fourth quarterback, unfortunately. All right, let's get into the final segment. Wanted to do story time. Trade candidates after the Lauri Markkanen extension. What are some players that could be traded in the NBA? This is going to be a very fun segment, so stick with us, folks. Take a sip of the water, and let's do this thing. Welcome to NBA Now by Chat Sports. On today's show, we're going to talk a lot about trade candidates in the NBA. But let me know this. The NBA season and regular season is about 2 months away from getting started. Let me know what NBA player, if any, gets traded this offseason. There's a lot of names out there still. No Lauri Markkanen, but let me know a name that you think could be dealt. Welcome to NBA Now by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. Before we get into today's show, what NBA player you think gets traded before the season? Starts in 2 months. Mid-October is when we get the season underway. There's a lot of names that could be dealt. No Lauri Markkanen, but we do have Brandon Ingram out there. And on today's show, we will be talking about the 5 players most likely to be traded after the Lauri Markkanen extension. So get those names down in the comment section right now. But I think there are still a lot of players that could be dealt because a lot of teams need to get upgrades. A lot of teams look to shed some players. And let's start with this. And I do want to mention the Lauri Markkanen stuff because he did get that massive 5-year extension earlier this week, $238 million according to Adrian Wojnarowski. But this does impact the trade market significantly because when you sign a new contract like this, team has to wait 6 months to trade you because of the CBA rules. And if they waited 6 months, well, it's actually past the NBA trade deadline in early February. So Lauri Markkanen will not be traded before this deadline. Can't be. So the only time he can be traded is in the offseason. So what 5 players that are most likely to be traded before the deadline or before the season? Well, number 1 to me still remains to be Brandon Ingram. And if we're just going to be honest here, I don't really understand what the holdup is here. Like, I don't think a resolution is coming in this Brandon Ingram saga. Like, he has 1 year left on his deal. There's reports out there that he wants close to $45, $50 million per season, which I don't know what your opinion is on Brandon Ingram, but I don't think he's worth that much money because if you're getting paid $45 to $50 million a year, to me, you have to be a top 2 player on a championship contending team. And I don't think Ingram is that. I think he's a good third option. So getting paid $35 to $40 million is probably where Brandon Ingram really should kind of land, in my opinion. Ingram's a fine player. Averaged 21 points a game last year, 5.1 rebounds, 5.7 assists. Shot decent from the field, but isn't that good of a three-point shooter. Now, he did have a little bit of a down year. He's had better seasons in the past, but to me, I just don't know what the resolution here is with New Orleans and Brandon Ingram. And with that current roster, if there's ever a way to say that a team has too many good players, it's the New Orleans Pelicans. Think about their roster. DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones. They have so many good players that it's almost going to hinder them because there is something to hierarchy in the NBA where you have your 2 lead guys or 3 lead guys. Then you have your role players. But what happens when you have 5 or 6 high-level players? There's just the dynamic and the way they share the court might not be the most efficient. And it might be one of those things where, if they traded Brandon Ingram for draft picks, they might ultimately become a better team because they can slot Trey Murphy or Herb Jones in that starting lineup to replace Brandon Ingram, and he fits CJ McCollum, DeJounte Murray, and Zion Williamson much better. And then you have a freed-up, clear 6th man by whoever Trey Murphy or Herb Jones doesn't start. To me, it's almost like they have too much talent, and getting rid of Brandon Ingram may actually do them very, very good. So let me know, do you think Brandon Ingram will be traded? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Let me know if you think BI will be dealt before the season or if you think he'll be dealt before the trade deadline. I give it a pretty decent chance. Number 2 on our trade candidates list, Zach LaVine, the guard from the Chicago Bulls. And, this is a very clear one, right? It's honestly almost like the Chicago Bulls are begging teams at this point to try to take on Zach LaVine's contract. And it's unfortunate because 2 or 3 years ago, when the Bulls were the number 1 seed, Lonzo Ball was healthy, DeMar DeRozan was there too. They had a pretty gnarly big 3 in Lonzo, LaVine, DeRozan, and they were very, very good. Caruso was there as well. It's a reason why they had so much hope, but it's really been downhill after that. And it's really been injuries have been name of the game for Zach LaVine. When he's healthy, he's one of the most dynamic 3-level scorers in the NBA. He can do it at the rim. He can do it in the mid-range, isolation, catch and shoot, step back threes. Like, he can do it all and is one of the better three-point shooters in the NBA. But he constantly is dealing with nagging injuries. And the big contract is another reason why teams don't want him. He's under contract for the next 3 seasons, and it's likely going to be 4 with his player option 4 years from now. And he's getting paid 43, 45, 48 mil in guaranteed money over the next 3 years. Like, if you take a swing on that contract and he ends up continuing to be hurt or not contribute to winning basketball, that is a really bad contract to trade for. And I just don't see a lot of teams lining up to trade for Zach LaVine. Now, there are teams that could use his services for sure, but when you factor in the contract and potentially having to deal with the trade, teams are just not willing to do it. But I do think a trade before the deadline is still likely. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we will have you covered with every single piece of NBA news and rumors. Join myself as we are going to have you covered leading up to the NBA season, but as well as during the season and during the trade deadline. Everything you need, we have you covered here at Chat Sports. Jeremy Grant comes in number 3 on this list because I don't really know what Portland's up to, if we're going to be honest. I don't really think Jeremy Grant's that good of a player, if we're going to be honest. I like him, but he's never really contributed to winning basketball. Like, every time he's on a team, sure, you're going to look at this and be like, holy crap, Jeremy Grant. Like, this is so impressive. Like, 20 points per game, like 4 rebounds, shooting 40% from 3. Like, who wouldn't want this guy? Like, he's a perfect 4 in today's NBA. No, but, like, think about this, guys. He's only played on bad teams like Detroit, Portland. He was with the Nuggets back in the day, but they didn't really do anything when he was on that team. Jeremy Grant left, and then that's when the Nuggets really took off. Like, I'm not sure Grant is a winning basketball player. It's one of those guys that you see on paper and you're like, yeah, I'm in on Jeremy Grant, but ultimately it's really not that good of a move. And it really feels like the Los Angeles Lakers are the only team interested at this point. Like, they're the only team that I see consistently linked to Jeremy Grant. Got a pretty big contract as well, which kind of scares me away personally. But Grant would make a lot of sense. You slide him in at the 4 in between Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I'd be fascinated to see the fit. But I'm not in on Jeremy Grant personally, but I do think he's probably like a top 3 guy, most likely to get dealt before this upcoming trade deadline. D'Angelo Russell, speaking of the Los Angeles Lakers, is someone also trying to be dealt. He comes in at number 4 on the list. And if we're going to be completely honest here, folks, like, D'Lo, on a raw number perspective, was not that bad last year. Like, sure, he came up short in some of the biggest moments, doesn't play a lot of defense, but he averaged 18 points a game and 6 assists last year. And there was a stretch after the All-Star break and in February where he was just going nuclear. Like, he shot 41.5% from 3 last year and shot 45% from the field, but man, oh man, was he really, really good at some point in the season, struggled during the postseason. But it's pretty clear that the Lakers want to get off D'Angelo Russell and his contract after he opted into his $18 million player option before free agency. Lakers are kind of desperate. Ideally, if you're Los Angeles, you're probably trying to trade D'Angelo Russell and some other players to get Jeremy Grant. That's been the rumored package, but Portland has no interest in D'Lo, and why would they, considering they already have a plethora of guards in Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons, Scoot Henderson. Like, they don't really need any more guards, folks. So Lakers, they're struggling to find a partner for D'Angelo Russell. One more trade target and candidate to potentially mention here on the show, but I want to make sure you're hooked up to get some NBA gear here. No matter what team you're a fan of, whether it be the Golden State Warriors, Heat, Lakers, Spurs, Nuggets, it does not matter. You can get all different types of hats for your favorite team. You can get a trucker hat. You can get a rope hat. You can get a fitted hat. You can get dad hat, snapback. Does not matter. Any type of hat you want for your favorite team and different types of designs can be found at chatsports.com/NBA hats. Even some of these hats are on sale for a discounted price, so don't waste your time and get one today. Chatsports.com/NBA hats is the link. We'll have that in the description and comments of today's video for you. Go get your hats today and make sure you're representing your favorite team before the NBA regular season gets underway in mid to late October. I wear hats all the time, so I'm a pretty big fan of the deal that's going on right now at chatsports.com/NBA hats. Final name we're going to talk about today, Cam Johnson, the forward from the Brooklyn Nets. And Johnson's an intriguing name because after Mikal Bridges was dealt away, the one thing that I was wondering was, are they going to have a complete fire sale? Are they going to be trading Dorian Finney-Smith? Is Cam Johnson going to be on the move? Are they just going to complete the tank, go for Cooper Flagg, and accumulate the most draft picks as possible? Well, there really hasn't been a lot of chatter on Cam Johnson, but it would make sense if Brooklyn ended up trading him. Like I mentioned, what are they up to here? And if Cam Johnson isn't traded before the season gets underway in 2 months, I'd be willing to bet a hefty chunk of change that he is moved before the NBA trade deadline. Like, when you think of what they have to do to build their roster from where it is now, you have to hit on draft picks because you're not going to be able to sign any high market free agents. You're not going to be able to trade for anyone, at least right now, because no one's going to want to sign long term there. So the best course of action, if you're asking me, is trade the players that might not be valuable to you in 3 or 4 years, but are valuable now for even more draft capital. And then just you got to hit through the draft, man. You're going to have a good chance to get a building block player this year, assuming Brooklyn finishes in the top 3 or 4. This draft, if we look ahead, man, Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, Harper, Nolan Traore. They also got that big man going to Duke who actually played on South Sudan. They're an Olympic team. I'm spacing on the name, but like there's going to be a lot of good players that you can get building blocks around. They also have Nick Claxton. Like, to me, they just got to trade off Cam Johnson, probably Dorian Finney-Smith too, get 2 or 3 more first-round picks from those 2 guys combined, and then really just target the draft as the way they rebuild their roster. All right, that will do it for today's show. If you want more surrounding the NBA, my Twitter is the best place to find it. At Nic_Rohloff is the handle. And if you follow me on today's show and DM me, what's up? Doesn't matter. Just DM me. Say what's up. I'll give you a follow back. It's greatly appreciated, and you will get the content you need surrounding the NBA. All right. 4 segments down. That will likely do it on today's show, folks. Appreciate everyone who came in and hung out with myself, Matthew Goldman as well. By the way, I've never said this. Do you go by Matthew at all? I don't know why I just said Matthew there. I don't want to. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
No, I go by Matt, but if I'm in trouble, my mom's calling me Matthew.
Yeah, I don't know why Matthew just slipped out of there.
Right,
I've never called him Matthew before, so that was something.
That was getting interesting. If
yeah.
they called you Nicholas.
Yeah, that's an odd one too.
Are you Nicholas?
Yes.
Okay.
So anytime someone calls me Nicholas, that's very strange. Yeah, it definitely throws me off. Honestly, anytime anyone calls me Nick, I get thrown off because I just get called Rolly, and I just think that's my first name at this point, if I'm going to be honest. But either way, appreciate you guys for hanging out with us here today at Chat Sports. For Matt Goldman, I am Nic Rohloff. See you guys next week.